Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the whole flock of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah. The Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Mosai, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahaya, not Allah, not Abba, not Yahuwah. It's Yahweh. And his only God's son name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshaya, not Yehoshua, not Yahusha. It's Yahweh Shah. So gotta give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rekah, Korash. Double honors to the apostles and the bishop and elders of great millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. And the sincere salutation to all the I can pushing this truth and believing this truth to the four winds of the earth, the entire world, shedding light to the whole elect. And shalom to the Agwath who are listening and learning. You few sisters who are listening and learning. Coming to another lesson of true facts, faith, and edification. Another daily edification. Lord, witness be edifying. So I titled this lesson, You Took That Land just as the Lord said you would. Lord, witness be edifying. And this is I saw this video a few days ago. It is a spirit to the brother Kazab Bunyahal sent it to me. And then I saw the elders posted it in the chat. So I want to make some points on this. Very spiritual, because I done did lessons on this many times over without using some video footage. But here it is, video footage, because the so-called white man is proud. He's full of pride. He's a proud individual. So they put together these videos to show you how they conquer and who's going to stop them. Because nobody can stop them, because tell you in Job 9:24 that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So I'm going to play this video, get some precepts. Lord willing, it's be edifying.
Backroom deals, betrayal, and a war that's lasted almost 100 years. This is what happened when the richest family in the world decided. In 1917, the Rothschilds, the trillion-dollar family that invented modern-day Rothschild, was an enigmatic mega-billionaire with so much money that instead of using horses to pull his carriage, he imported zebras. Just to show off. This hobby of insects until they linked up with the super rich Walter Rothschild, a man who could change the world with the snap of his finger. By the early 1900s, the Rothschilds were already in Europe. They were so wealthy that they had even given loans to the entire country of France to stabilize the economy. However, aside from their power, the Rothschilds also had a reputation for being extremely ruthless. They wouldn't hesitate to wield their power as a weapon, to bulldoze through their enemies and crush anyone who opposed them. If the Rothschilds wanted something, they better get it, or they'd be hell to pay. Walter Rothschild made the calls he needed to make, pulled the strings he needed to pull, and in 1917, the British government sent Walter an official letter promising to do everything within their power to provide land for the creation of Israel. That letter redesigned the map of the world, and if you need proof, we have a copy of that letter.
November the 2nd, 1917.
It's a fact. In the new economy, average people are becoming millionaires faster and easier than ever before. But how do they do it? According to the news, the whole world's falling apart. Well, that's the $1 million question. Now, if you're not interested in the $1 million answer, go ahead and skip to the end of this video, and I'm sorry for wasting your time.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
So it's possibly the most famous letter in modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
That letter, nicknamed the Balfour Declaration,
by the Foreign Secretary to your great uncle Walter.
The reason is obvious, because the State of Israel was officially created. Although this was good news, the Rothschilds were just getting started. What the Rothschilds did next was even more impressive to Israel, building schools, roads, and everything needed to turn that piece of land into a beautiful country. James Rothschild's single Rothschild paid for Israel's Supreme Court build. More money, Rothschilds, more problem. Because the land that actually belonged the Palestinian, Israeli, specifically the power of the Rothschild dynasty. Whatever you've heard about how powerful the Rothschilds are is nothing compared to the true scale of their influence. YouTube has dozens of videos about the Rothschilds, but this one is different. Because instead of merely talking about the Rothschilds, we'll sift through centuries of history to reveal 5 times the Rothschild family used money, violence, and power to reshape reality and mold the world in their own image. Starting with the time when the Rothschilds invented the banking industry that we have.
See, and that's the buzzword. Reshaping the world in their image, man. This is what Esau is doing. He's reshaping the world in his image. That's heavy. That was that Second Thessalonians. 2 Let's read it. See, this is what the Edomites is doing, man. reshaping the world in their image. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4. It reads, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. See, this is what they're doing, reshaping the world in their image. Okay, all their industrial revolutions, their policies, their draconian measures, their democracy, their statutes, their penal codes, everything is being shaped into the image of the so-called white man. Well, Job 9:24, the earth was given to the hand of the wicked. Let me see if I can get this again.
History to reveal 5 times the Rothschild family used money, violence, and power to reshape reality and mold the world in their own image.
See? To reshape and mold the world into their own image. Again, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that they should not come, except they come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Precept to link with that, Isaiah 14 and 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. See, this is what they did. And this is what they still doing. The other one in Ezekiel 28, it reads, Ezekiel 28, this is that pride of the so-called white man. It reads, Ezekiel 28 and 3, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. Now let's read 1. The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, right in the midst of the congregation, the people. Congregation is the people. This all linked. Isaiah 14, 2 Thessalonians. I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not God, as it said in Ezekiel 14 and 16. In Isaiah 14 and 16. Though thou set thy heart as the heart of God. See, this is them, man. Something gonna happen. What's going on with the computer now, man? All right.
Starting with the time when the Rothschilds invented the banking industry that we have today. And the way they did it is more brutal than you can imagine. The Rothschilds didn't get into banking because they wanted to make the world a better place. They did it because they wanted power. And this thirst for power started in 1744 with Mayer Amschel Rothschild. From a young age, Mayer lived by the code that money is power. But even though he needed money to get power, Mayer was born to a middle-income family living in the ghettos of Frankfurt. However, Mayer had a plan to go from rags to riches. As a young man, he began a money-lending business. He started with a small amount and gradually grew his capital. Though this sounds pretty straightforward, the big problem with money lending is that people sometimes don't pay back what they borrow. But Mayer was a hard man, and he did whatever was necessary to get his loans paid with interest. Even from a young age, he developed a reputation as someone you shouldn't mess with. Mayer also maneuvered himself to become the personal banker of members of the German royal family. Over time, Mayer's small money lending and exchange business ballooned into a successful financial institution. But despite all his success, Mayer knew that there was one enemy that could destroy everything he had built. And that enemy was time. As Mayer grew old, he taught his financial skills.
They know that time is not on their side, man. That's spiritual, right? They know that. Job 21:19. God layeth up his iniquity for his children. He rewardeth him, and he shall know it. His eyes shall see his destruction, and he shall drink of the wrath of the Almighty. For what pleasure have he in his house after him, when the number of his months is cut off in the midst? See, this they know, that time is not on their side. Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, that has appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. There's another one in Job 15. This Job 15:22. He believeth not that he shall return out of darkness, and he is waited for of the sword. He wandereth abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knoweth that the day of darkness is ready at his hand. See, they know.
To his 5 sons. More importantly, he also taught them that success isn't only based on their ability to manage money, but also to manipulate people and situations to their advantage. The game of money is deadly, and Mayer taught his sons to be more brutal than anyone they faced. After teaching them everything he knew, Mayer sent his 5 sons, Amschel, Solomon, Nathan, Carl, and Jacob, to different parts of Europe to dominate the banking sector. He figured if a Rothschild controlled the flow of money in the different parts of Europe, then the Rothschilds would be the most powerful family in Europe. Because money is power, and the one who controls the money has all the power. The Rothschild brothers spread their banking business to different cities, like London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples. They applied the shrewd tactics their father taught them, and it worked. Very soon, the Rothschilds had created the world's first international bank. This Rothschild...
This is a metabolism killer, this is a metabolism killer, and this is a metabolism killer.
Maya Angelou Bauer who said, give me control of the money and I care not who make the laws.
Created the blueprint for how banks open international branches today. International banks exist because the Rothschilds did it first. But they had more banking moves in store. The Rothschilds also invented the concept of using government bonds to raise money for the government. As they controlled more and more money, the Rothschilds became more and more powerful than entire governments. Years later, when countries wanted to set up central banks, guess who they called? The Rothschilds. The Rothschilds helped create central banks in many countries, like the Bank of England and the Banque de France. The next time you walk into a bank, say thank you to the Rothschilds. Although, for every good thing the Rothschilds did, they also did equally brutal things, like making money off the death and slaughter of millions of people. This brings us to the second time the Rothschilds changed reality, when they decided the fate of the free world. In the 1800s, Napoleon Bonaparte was on a mission to take over the world. Napoleon was the greatest military strategist on Earth. He could outthink, outwit, and outsmart anyone on the battlefield. The problem with Napoleon was that he wasn't satisfied with merely being a rich soldier in the French army. He wanted to rule the world, and so he launched a campaign to fight and conquer every country in the world till he was ruler of the universe. How
See?
crazy
That's the Edomites. That's what Alexander the Greek did, right? Antiochus tried to do it, right? Overall, that's what the Edomite has done.
is that? At first, people thought Napoleon was overrated. But they started taking him seriously when he kept defeating his enemies on the battlefield. At a certain point, it seemed like Napoleon was going to become the most powerful man in the world, even though at the time, the Rothschilds were the most powerful people in Europe. And so, in an attempt to maintain their power, the Rothschilds did something so evil that it could make the devil cry. While the world was fighting against Napoleon, the Rothschilds decided to play both sides. War is expensive. The British needed money to pay soldiers and buy weapons. Any delay in getting the necessary weapons could allow Napoleon's army to rush in and defeat the British. The Rothschilds took advantage of this situation to give quick loans to the British government. If lending to individuals was profitable, imagine how much more profitable lending to a government was. Even though the Rothschild loans came with heavy interest, it was what they did next that showed their diabolical genius. The Rothschilds went behind the backs of the British and offered loans to Napoleon too. By the year 1815, the Rothschilds were supplying Napoleon with gold and silver to buy weapons to attack the British, and at the same time were supplying the British with money for guns and bombs to attack Napoleon.
See that? See? This is what they do, man. They fund both sides of any war, man. This is who you dealing with. Esau don't care, man. They don't care, man. This is the dominance of the elites, man. They don't care. Now, why would you do something like that? Pure evil.
They did this so no matter who won the war, the Rothschilds would be on the winning side.
Right.
Whoever won would also owe the Rothschilds millions of pounds, meaning the Rothschilds would still be the most powerful banking family in Europe. But their strategy had a fatal flaw. By giving money to both
Salakia.
When you build your online store with GoDaddy, it's easy to sell everywhere your customers shop. List
money to both sides, they were indirectly prolonging the war. Each day, hundreds of soldiers were slaughtered on the battlefields because the Rothschilds were funding the war. Eventually, the war ended when Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo. The British coalition forces had won, and they owed the Rothschilds a lot of money. At the end of the war, the Rothschilds were even more powerful. Instead of celebrating, the Rothschilds had one more card they wanted to play, and by the time they played that card, their wealth would increase 100-fold in just 24 hours. This is the third time the Rothschilds played the world. Remember when we said Napoleon was defeated at the Battle of Waterloo? While everyone saw it as a final battle for control of the world, the Rothschilds saw it as an opportunity to increase their wealth, and they did it in the most terrible way. To understand what they did, you need to understand how the stock exchange and bonds work, but we'll explain it as simple as possible. The Rothschilds knew that if Napoleon won the battle, everyone in Britain would be disappointed, and that disappointment would affect the price of the pound sterling on the stock exchange, because the pound sterling is the official currency of the British. On the other hand, if the British won, then the pound sterling would become more valuable and increase in price on the stock exchange. And so, Nathan Rothschild paid a spy to wait on the battlefield to see who won the battle. So the spy watched the battle from his hiding place and saw that Napoleon was defeated. What he did next was legendary. The spy sent a pigeon to Nathan, informing him that the British had won. This meant that the pound sterling was going to be more valuable on the stock market. But nobody else knew the British had won because the official British horse messenger hadn't arrived in London yet. Nathan knew something nobody else did, and he used this information in a way only a heartless man would. Instead of celebrating Britain's victory, Nathan ordered his agents to spread fake news that Napoleon had won. When people heard this fake news, it caused panic selling of the British bonds on the stock exchange. The panic selling caused the price of the pound sterling to drop. And then Nathan, the same man who spread the fake news, ordered his agents to buy up all the bonds people were selling at rock bottom prices. 24 hours later, when the official government messenger arrived with news that the British had won, it was already too late. The British victory made the pound sterling shoot up in value. And because the Rothschilds had bought so much on the stock market, it made the Rothschilds incredibly wealthy overnight. According to reports, the Rothschilds made the equivalent of $6 billion due to that single move. And this set the stage for the next time Rothschilds changed. Rothschilds had
Controlling how people
amassed
think,
more money
because
than
that's what the word government means. Control minds, mind control. See, this the same image of the Roman Empire, the same image of the Greek Empire, is this last captivity, is this last empire.
they could spend in their lifetime. And the 5 sons taught their children the same lessons their father had taught them. Very soon, the next generation had the opportunity to put those lessons into practice. As the years went by and technology advanced, devices like the radio and television were invented. Information was no longer spread using from all of the world saw it as a threat. They had lived their lives by the principle that money is power. But this new generation of Rothschilds realized that information is a new form of power. You can control. They could pay whatever price to gain control of the world's media. The Rothschilds control the flow of money for the Rothschilds' fifth chess.
Now we know that the so-called white man has lost the information age. They have lost it, man.
Is right out of their playbook. Apart from media, the Rothschilds made investments in other industries. They formed the Rothschild Group and threw money at the most important companies in the world. From the USA to Japan to Switzerland. Their stakes in these companies controlled
Right. Because they
No one
control all the resources, man. They control all the resources. This is Job chapter 9 and 4. Job chapter 9 and 24 it reads, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He coveteth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, wherein who is he? The earth was given into their hand, man. Micah 2 and 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. Why? Because it is in the power of their hands. It's in the power of their hands, man. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked. And the wicked is the Edomites, the elites. Because you got that small remnant. Just like there's a remnant of Israel, the aristocrats, you got the remnant, the aristocrats on the left-hand side of the Edomites, man. And it's them small hats. As they tell you in Numbers 24, Amalek, man. Everything, they control all the resources. No so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, West Indian, and Haitian control resources, man. These elites, man.
exactly knows how much the Rothschilds actually have.
And you can't put a number, and we say this all the time at the camp, you can't put a number on resources when you control all the resources, man. You can't put a number on that. You can't say they worth 600 trillion. You can't say what they worth, man, because they control all the resources. And when you own resources, ain't no number on resources, man.
Although estimates say the Rothschilds own assets worth $1 trillion or more. Whatever the exact in history.
Ain't no money, man. $1 trillion ain't nothing, man. For them to say 1 trillion, 1 trillion is not a lot of money, man. You can't put a number on the resources if you own all the resources, man.
Are the ultimate rags to riches story. They are living proof that money is power, and that with enough power, you can rule the world.
Yeah, so, Lord willing, this was edifying. Got to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and the bishops and elders, great millstone, who rule well, who teach well.
So there's a lot of different ways to learn data.
Of all of Israel, whether you can accept it or not. In a sense, it's salutation to all the Akim pushing this truth and believing this truth with the four winds of the earth, the entire world. Shedding light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Akbath well listening listening. You for sister well listening learning about tuning in. May Yahweh Shema shall continue to bless you in your houses. May the blessing of the be upon your houses. Till the next time I say Shalom. Wa Abba.